Go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Fancy Branch, SoundCloud, SoundClick. This is another excerpt of New World Order, Part 3. And I was just looking on World Star Hip Hop and ran into this.
An extraordinary warning tonight from Russia to the U.S. against conducting military strikes against Syria. In a strongly worded statement, a spokesperson for the Russian defense minister said any strikes against President Bashar Assad's regime targets could result in American aircraft being shot down. That statement read in part, quote, stealth aircraft may encounter a disappointing reality.
Okay, and then the Russian dude speaks. All right, so basically over there in Syria, it's a big thing because of all the refugees who are fleeing Syria and the whole religious regimes and so on and so forth that are warring against each other, warring factions. But basically, Russia said, pretty much at the end of this guy's speech, he said, basically, we have 734 soldiers over there in Syria who have been working with the I forgot who the leader is, or the Syrian leader is over there, and they pretty much warned us to stop our airstrikes against Syria because some of their countrymen could get hurt and killed, and that's understandable. But they said if there are any airstrikes against Syria, that they consider it an immediate threat against Russia. Basically, if you kill one of us, then, we're going to war. Now, a week or so ago, I did a whole video on Snowden. And in that video, I was talking about the significance of Snowden. For one, the information he knew that he let us, the people, know. And two, the fact that he is in Russia. This guy used to work for the government. We all know about Snowden, so on and so forth. However, after I went to see the movie, I found out that he is a Russian citizen, just like I thought when I was making the video. I made the video first, saw the movie later. And we want him for espionage. Now, how this all ties in is, one, he could be given information to the Russians for, I think it's amnesty or a sanctuary. Two, he is now a citizen. Okay, the biggest thing is if they get the information that he knows, he's considered a traitor. But he knows intricate information about all of our big government offices because he worked in them, and some of the tracking information he created called Heartbeat, he created that himself. Just think how valuable it would be to them. He also knows how we bugged pretty much half the world, and if any of our so-called allies like Japan went up against us, we can just shut down their factories just by push of a button. Imagine if they had that information and used it against us. Now, we did just see a whole, I made a video about this, about the blackjack bombers, the supersonic bombers that carry nuclear weapons that just flew into European airspace where they flew around it to test them, and a bunch of jets were scrambled to stop them. Because if they don't, and if they decide to, go ahead and drop a nuclear bomb, it would be a bad deal. They didn't do that, but they were testing them. So to say that we are not on pins and needles with these other super countries is an understatement. And then we have our new president coming in who is pretty much a hothead and believes in nuclear weapons. he has already spoke about Aleppo, Syria, and now the significance of Syria is pretty much known. Listen, if you go back and look at how World War II started and how other countries got into World War II, some of them got into it, I mean, for just the dumbest reasons. Millions of people died for the stupidest reasons. Uh, One of the reasons we got into when we went into what was it, 1948? Basically it was because of there was a company called White Star Line, and if I'm wrong about this, some of you guys can go ahead and look this up. But if you look up White Star Line, you're gonna look up, for one, the owner ended up going bankrupt, and end up being living on an island for the rest of his life. But the significance of White Star Line is two things. One, they built the Lusitania and they built the Titanic. As a matter of fact, the two ships' names were switched over. So the Lusitania was actually the Titanic, and the Titanic was actually the Lusitania. And if memory serves me correct, we all know what happened to the Titanic. But the Lusitania was also sank. And when the Lusitania was sank, it was sank because it was supposed to be ferrying military weapons, and being that it was an American ship, boom, it got bombed because they were supposed to be ferrying American weapons. They were actually hiding on the boat. We know how large the boat was, so on and so forth. We go into war because they killed all those people. The reason why I mention that is because it just doesn't take much for a world war to happen when you already have countries that are going at each other in one way or another. Uh, and once that ball gets rolling, it just spirals out of control until somebody actually takes control. Then we have to look at the people who actually control pretty much the world banks, and the seven most powerful families, and where they came from, and what they've always been doing. They're Jewish people, Russian Caucasians, warlike people, and they control the banks because they've been controlling the banks for thousands and thousands of years. If you look at when the Black Plague hit and what they did in the Black Plague, you'll notice how they got so rich, and then how they were always funding kings and queens. It was just like Game of Thrones, is what it was. Uh, and the bank would fund, this faction or this group, and then they would owe the bank all this money, and then the bank would do it. Well, that bank is is uh, is doing the same thing. Those people are doing the same thing. Those seven powerful families are doing the same thing. The Rothschilds, the uh, shoot, I don't even know them all. I'm sorry, I'm hungry and I'm tired. The DuPonts, they're doing the same thing. They're controlling the gas. They control everything. And this always happens when they think the world is overpopulated. Well, now we're at that tipping point where they think the world is overpopulated, and then they cut down on the numbers by genocide. One of those ways is war, another is disease. Well, we're facing war. These warnings that the Russian government is giving us, those blackjack fighters or bomber planes, uh, the way America has just be eating itself inside out, turning itself inside out. I keep telling, you people who listen to my videos, prepare for anything. Just start preparing. Like, if you're lazy, stop being lazy because you're going to need all your strength. Go to a gym, do some push-ups, do whatever. Everything you eat makes a difference because you're going to need your strength. the water you drink, everything you drink. Like, stop drinking this terrible soda. Stop sitting in front of your TV and doing nothing. Start exercising your mind, because every little thing is going to make a difference. Everything. Stop being so infatuated with stupidity like what Kim Kardashian is doing. That Leave all that behind. Sports, all of that. Who cares about that? I talk about sports, but I don't watch none of that. I don't care about none of that. I exercise every day because I don't know when I'm going to use my strength and when I'm going to really need it. And I mean all of my strength. I don't know who I'll have to protect. I don't know when I'll have to protect them. All as I know is I need to be as strong as possible. Doesn't mean I need to lift up the whole gym. It means my body needs to be in shape for whatever. And I'm telling you, you need to do this too. You need to watch what you eat. You need to watch what your family eats. You watch what your family is doing. You need to train your mind for whatever possible. Because I'm telling you, once this war hits, your lights are gonna go out. Literally. Your food is gonna be cut off. Your finances, they're gonna be all cut off. It's gonna be black. And you're gonna have to have the right mind and the right fortitude to survive. Because we're gonna go right back to the Stone Ages. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. You might have to walk for miles, hundreds of miles, just like your ancestors did, carrying something or someone. Your children are going to depend on you, and you need to teach your children how to stay physically fit. All this nonsense and garbage and all that, leave it alone. I'm telling you, people, I'm letting you know right now, every ounce of energy you have, you're going to need it. Even the Bible talks about what's going on right now. And it talks about how people are left behind. It talks about how a husband leaving a wife behind, and the wife is leaving the husband behind. It talks about all of this. I'm telling you, get your mind right, get your spirit right, get your strength up. Because it's serious. I'm not telling you to go and stockpile a bunch of guns, because the truth is, you might not even get a chance to fire a shot. You might not. You might not get a chance to say what. You might be blown away in a second. And I'm not telling you not to get one. I'm telling you to cut out all the nonsense in your life. If it's a person that's nonsense, cut them out, cut them off. You don't have time for that. We're finished with the stupidity. With the social media and just constantly on, we're done. Not unless we're connecting with social media as a group of people with one like mind, which is to survive. Do that now. Organize now. Because when it hits, we are all going to need each other. Color, sex, your who lives over here, your neighbors, who does that, all that hatred that we have built into our heads is going to have to fly out the window, because we are going to need each other like you just don't know. I'm telling you, prepare yourself. It's your boy Tone 202.